She somehow managed to make it out with only some minor cuts and bruises.
You being there for him and him being there for you. Yeah, at one point I was a light for him.
Yeah, I think it's bad karma. As much as I believe in karma, I believe that's bad. I think if you intentionally do something that someone who's a good person...
Man, this whole situation...
So here's what went down with Jake Paul getting seriously hurt in this devastating car wreck in Dorado, Puerto Rico, and honestly the whole thing is just mind-blowing. The timing is absolutely wild because this is the same guy who's been constantly calling out Anthony Joshua, starting fights, building up all this tension and drama, and then suddenly this happens. It's like the universe finally decided to step in and balance the scales, you know? This whole situation isn't just some random mishap. It's hitting like this wake-up call showing everyone that what you put out there really does come back around. And get this, while Anthony Joshua has been staying protected, completely locked in on his preparation, keeping that champion mentality that separates the real deal from the wannabes, Jake Paul is now stuck dealing with the mess that he basically created for himself. Boxing fans across the planet are going crazy as this story spreads everywhere on social media, with everyone losing their minds over this wild and honestly incredible twist.
Jake Paul's a fraud in terms of boxing, but worse than that, after all his hype about what he was going to do to Joshua, what did we see? We saw a cowardly display from a guy who shouldn't be anywhere near.
So Joe Rogan is breaking down this whole concept, and honestly he's hitting the nail on the head here. When you keep moving with sketchy motives the way Jake Paul has been doing, reality eventually comes knocking at your door. It's like there's this cosmic scoreboard tracking everything, and you wind up pulling in these bad situations that you can't just promote your way through. And look what's happening right now. Paul's crash in Puerto Rico seems like the universe finally hitting back with perfect timing. At the same time, you've got Anthony Joshua staying on this totally focused journey, demonstrating to everyone the massive clear difference between somebody who honors the game and takes care of themselves and somebody who's been moving around carelessly. Now Paul is stuck there dealing with the heavy price of his own choices, the type of fallout that no amount of internet fame or online popularity can shield you from.
I don't know what it means. So I don't think that necessarily, like, if you do something will happen to you.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you do something evil, you're aware that you do something evil, and I think your existence is poisoned because of that. And I think you will forever run into bad situations because you will be filled with bad thoughts and bad energy, and
you take
will,
on like a psychic cancer.
Yeah.
That attracts other.
Yes, I think that's real.
Logan Paul is literally breaking down with real emotional tears over the devastating news about his brother Jake Paul's crash, and that reaction alone tells you exactly how dangerous and life-threatening this whole situation actually is. We're not dealing with some small accident here. This situation is showing the very harsh reality of moving without thinking, making risky choices, and it's standing in such sharp contrast to how Anthony Joshua handles everything with focus, strategic thinking, and real concern for his well-being and future. People everywhere are shocked, seeing Jake Paul deal with the serious aftermath from decisions that didn't have to happen. Jake Paul finally getting hit with the results of his own madness. It feels almost like destiny, like something straight from a Hollywood story. The universe has finally caught up to him, and truthfully, it's tough not to smile slightly at the irony after all the crazy publicity he built up. All those challenges, all that effort trying to hunt down Anthony Joshua for a big money bout. Focus and preparation win every single time in this game. And Paul is now getting taught these brutal, tough lessons the hardest way you can imagine, while the whole boxing community stares in total shock.
You're an absolute idiot. There was no reason for, first of all, you go to jail. Why would Netflix, the biggest streaming platform in the world, partake in anything like that? Just use your brain. And MVP,
Johnny Nelson is jumping in here to tell everyone that this whole thing isn't just about fighting drama or some internet beef between competitors. We're dealing with real human safety being on the line here. Jake Paul's crash is working like this brutal wake-up call for everyone watching, and it's showing such a dramatic difference compared to Anthony Joshua's focus, thoughtful and truly safe way of handling both his fighting career and his everyday life. This is a heavy moment for people to actually pause, catch their breath, and understand that dangerous actions away from the ring, the stuff that doesn't get recorded, can lead to results that are way more serious and life-changing than any punch or online controversy could ever create.
This is serious. This is a serious situation, so you've got to forget that now. This is somebody's son. These are somebody's son. This is somebody's life. These boys have lost their lives. So people need to just put the boxing thing to one side.
Now, there are all these stories going around trying to connect Jake Paul's crash somehow to Anthony Joshua, like they're building this storyline, but the reality is completely obvious when you really examine what happened. Paul's dangerous lifestyle, his reckless choices, his hunger for spotlight and chaos, it all finally hit him back in the most brutal way possible. While everyone watches this disaster develop around Jake with news stories everywhere and the internet going completely insane, Joshua's preparation and self-control keep shining through like a lighthouse. This huge difference is proving to everyone exactly why planning ahead, taking responsibility, and making wise choices both inside and outside the ring create all the separation between a real professional and someone who's just pretending to be a fighter.
I hear what you're saying. You're probably saying, what the hell has this got to do with Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul? Well, this is where it gets...
Joe Rogan is really driving home and highlighting just how unbelievably close Jake Paul came to avoiding a serious or even deadly result here, and that's showing the pure amount of recklessness that landed him in this scary spot to begin with. It's this harsh, eye-opening reminder that bad choices, dangerous decisions made outside the ring, away from the lights and the training facilities, can be way more risky and deadly than anything that could ever happen to you inside a boxing match with protection on and an official supervising. Anthony Joshua's controlled way of living, his real respect for safety, his understanding of what can go wrong, all of this proves exactly why he deliberately stays away from these kinds of deadly risks that come from living dangerously.
I mean...
That's bonkers. Thank God he didn't have a seatbelt on. I never say that. Thank God he didn't have a fucking seatbelt on, because if he did...
There's no way.
He would be dead.
This whole mess is honestly a perfect, clear example of karma hitting Jake Paul in the most intense way you could picture. His dangerous actions over time, his constant tries to anger Anthony Joshua with insults and callouts, all of it has now exploded completely in a way that nobody saw coming, while Jake is stuck in a hospital room somewhere, dealing with the very serious results of his own decisions, handling injuries, and probably reconsidering a bunch of life moves. Anthony Joshua stays completely protected, keeping his focus, staying locked on his skills and his preparation. This difference is proving something important that every boxing fan has to grasp. The sport isn't just about having strength in the ring, landing big shots, or building a huge fan base online. It's also basically about taking responsibility, getting ready, staying disciplined, and making smart moves outside of it. People watching this happen can obviously see that hard work, real commitment, and true focus actually separate the greats from the fakes in this sport. Jake Paul's total fixation with getting back at Anthony Joshua with showing something to the boxing scene has brought him straight into major problems, and now karma has sent this harsh, brutal lesson that you can't fake discipline and think you'll escape consequences forever. While Paul is healing in a hospital bed somewhere, probably thinking about all his decisions and questioning how everything went so badly, Joshua's solid, unwavering commitment to boxing greatness and keeping discipline keeps working out in every way you can imagine. This situation is proving what real boxing fans have always known, that the wild behavior of internet stars turned fighters just can't compete with the professionalism, preparation, and real respect that true champions bring to the game. AJ's steady, consistent way of handling everything keeps him protected, respected, and leading his division, showing once more that skill combined with responsibility and intelligence always beats showboating, publicity, and social media tricks.
But Paul is still standing, taking the right uppercut. Best shot at the moment. Not that much is going to happen. And it almost, oh, there's a left hook. Oh, my God! Down goes Paul!
6, 7,
Hey, no.
You know, I give Jake Paul credit for stepping in there in the first place, going 6 rounds. All those people that says if this doesn't get past the first round, it's a loss for Anthony Joshua. He did what he was supposed to do, but we also give
Tommy Fury absolutely destroys Jake Paul's basic lack of legitimacy in the ring. And this crash only confirms what everyone in the fighting world has been thinking from day one. Paul's popularity, his whole brand, comes from internet videos, viral content, and social media fights, not actual boxing talent, not years of commitment and training, not real fighting skills. Meanwhile, Anthony Joshua's workout routine, his discipline, his actual fighting talent, and years of competing at the top level make him stand out in ways that can't be copied. Paul's errors on the road, this careless crash, they match perfectly his lack of readiness in the ring, while AJ's total focus and well-earned skill prove exactly why real boxers get respect through steady performance, commitment, and wins, not through internet stunts, trash talking, or chasing fame at risky cost to their own safety and futures. People can obviously see the huge gap between a real legitimate competitor who's proven his worth and someone who's just hunting for attention.
You are a YouTuber. You ain't a boxer, mate. This guy never took a punch. He's never took one serious punch. Here's what he's took of Anderson Silva. And he's done this. What is that?
Logan Paul's own story of Jake Paul basically crying in the ring during hard fights proves just how truly unprepared and dangerously overconfident Jake really is when he faces real competitors. While Paul's behavior keeps making headlines and getting clicks on social platforms, Anthony Joshua's steady commitment to discipline, skill building, and real boxing talent keeps making him different from everyone else in the heavyweight scene. This clear difference shows that no amount of attitude, no amount of internet fame or online followers can possibly replace real boxing ability, years of getting ready, and actual experience at the top level, and that overconfidence mixed with dangerous behavior can create embarrassing and truly risky results both inside the ring during matches and outside the ring in regular life.
When Anthony Joshua would lean on Jake, he would go to his knee. Most people thought, oh, Jake's trying to take him down. I saw this in sparring and I asked him, I was like, why do you keep going to your knee when the big guy is above you and leans on you? He said, they're so heavy. Me trying to hold them up wastes so much energy. If I'm under them and they start leaning on me, I'm just going to drop to my knee, because why would I waste energy trying to keep them up for what purpose other than to get exhausted?
Jake Paul's building reputation as someone who brings others down, and honestly as a failure in the opinion of real boxing fans, keeps hitting him in the most public ways you can imagine. And now the reality is getting revealed for everyone to see perfectly. His dangerous behavior, his desperate tries to challenge real boxers like Anthony Joshua, who are working at a totally different level, have finally blown up in amazing fashion. AJ's calm, disciplined, professional way of handling everything keeps proving exactly why he is a real champion who gets respect throughout the whole boxing scene. People everywhere can see with total clarity that publicity and social media popularity are definitely no replacement for real skill, actual preparation, years of serious training, and genuine responsibility. And Paul's constant mistakes are working like this harsh public teaching moment about what happens when you let pride and carelessness control your choices. John Fury's sincere emotional message reminds everyone listening exactly how close Jake Paul really came to total disaster, to something that might have destroyed his career or worse, while Anthony Joshua stays safe, protected by his smart moves and committed to what really counts. This situation is proving everything about AJ's controlled lifestyle, his dedication to preparation, and the huge importance of making wise choices every single day. While Paul heals from this crash, handling injuries and probably replaying everything in his head, Joshua's supporters worldwide are getting reminded exactly why real champions truly respect their sport, respect their own well-being, and see the full picture. It's a powerful, meaningful lesson about responsibility that everyone can take away, proving that fame and attitude, no matter how loud or flashy, can't save you from the very real dangers that reckless behavior always brings into your world.
God bless you, AJ. You're one lucky lad. God bless them. I'm glad you're alive again. Shocked me, that's terrible.
Eddie Hearn's real concern and worry proves just how serious Jake Paul's crash actually was, telling everyone in the boxing world that dangerous actions away from the ring, outside the safe space of competition, can have life-changing permanent results that no amount of money or fame can fix, while Paul is basically depending on pure chance to avoid major career-destroying injuries from his careless choices. Anthony Joshua's controlled way of living, his commitment to preparation, training, and making smart moves proves the huge massive gap between a professional boxer who treats everything seriously and a social media star who's pretending to be a fighter. AJ's dedication to safety, to proper training methods, and to personal responsibility has kept him totally out of danger throughout his whole career, showing that talent by itself is definitely not enough if you don't have wisdom, maturity, and real respect for life. This crash works like this alarm bell for Paul and a serious reminder to everyone watching that champions build their success both inside and outside the ring through consistent smart choices. People can obviously see the danger of overconfidence, of thinking you can't be hurt, and the massive importance of making responsible decisions every day.
Value of living a disciplined, thoughtful life.
But again, I don't know, so I don't want to say that, but I'm hoping that some of the news we're hearing that he, it doesn't look like he has any major injuries is true. And that would be fantastic, and obviously be a very lucky boy.
Chase Demmer's message,
This whole thing proves how unpredictable life can be and how fast things can go wrong in just a moment, something that Jake Paul learned firsthand in the most brutal way you can imagine. While Paul deals with serious results from making dangerous choices, from living without considering the risks, Anthony Joshua keeps showing and proving the value of focus, discipline, and real respect for the sport and for life itself. AJ's power to stay leading the heavyweight division while consistently staying away from unnecessary risks shows exactly why he is a real role model for boxing fans around the planet. This difference highlights the enormous space between publicity-driven personalities who are all about performance and real champions who truly get what's at stake. People seeing this can obviously understand that preparation, awareness, and responsible actions are just as important as natural talent or physical strength. And AJ's controlled approach to everything makes sure he stays in total control both in and out of the ring.
More said, I hope and pray that Anthony Joshua is okay. Life happens so fast. 1 minute on top of the world, the next not. Stay safe, boys. Let's finish this year.
Eddie Hearn repeats and stresses the hope that Jake Paul got away without serious permanent injuries, really highlighting how fragile life is outside the ring where there are no referees to stop things when they turn dangerous. While Paul's carelessness and lack of thinking have put him in real danger, Anthony Joshua's discipline, his organized schedule, and his deep respect for safety represent the mark of a real professional who knows what's on the line. AJ's commitment to proper training, complete preparation, and making smart choices at every moment contrasts sharply with Paul's dangerous behavior and attention-grabbing actions, proving that talent without wisdom and skill without maturity can lead to total disaster. The situation works as a strong reminder to people everywhere that boxing is about so much more than just throwing punches or having knockout strength. It's basically about discipline, self-awareness, and the power to make choices that protect both your career and your actual life. Anthony Joshua's example stands out as this perfect model of professionalism and respect.
Responsibility that everyone should aspire.
But again, I don't know, so I don't want to say that, but I'm hoping that some of the news we're hearing that he, it doesn't look like he has any major injuries is true. And that would be fantastic, and obviously be a very lucky boy.
Anthony Joshua reflects deeply.
Anthony Joshua's personal development story and the real sacrifices he has made to put boxing excellence and family above everything else stands in sharp contrast to Jake Paul's dangerous behavior and bad decision-making that brought him straight to his crash. AJ's self-awareness, his mature choices, and his power to think ahead have kept him safe and totally focused on continued success, proving that real champions handle both their careers and personal lives with responsibility and intelligence. Paul's repeated mistakes highlight the serious results of ignoring advice from experienced people, of skipping proper preparation, and of lacking basic common sense. People can see with total clarity that real greatness in boxing gets built on a foundation of discipline, sacrifice, and a perfectly clear understanding of what matters in life. AJ's story proves why he stays respected and untouchable in both the ring and in life, and why luck by itself, no matter how much you get, can never possibly replace wisdom and proper preparation.
I realized that I was working away from home. I was spending time with my friends, and my wife wasn't happy. So I had to kind of look at the decisions I was making, and I had to come back home to boxing, and I had to sacrifice, I had to take a look at my life, make necessary changes to put my love back to.
Jake Paul's car crash in Dorado, Puerto Rico works as this harsh, serious reminder that recklessness away from the ring, making careless choices in everyday life, can have life-changing results that alter everything permanently. While Paul barely avoided serious injury, and honestly it was closer than most people know, it proves the huge contrast between him and Anthony Joshua, whose controlled lifestyle, steady focus, and careful preparation have kept him at the absolute peak of the heavyweight division for years. People are now wondering and arguing heavily about what this means for future matchups and possible fights, with Joshua's perfect timing, crushing power, and tactical awareness, giving him an undeniable advantage over an internet star turned fighter who has repeatedly underestimated the dangers of both boxing and life itself. This situation also brings up serious questions about responsibility, proper training, and mental preparation, proving that luck can't replace skill or discipline, no matter how many times you take chances. For Anthony Joshua, this is an opportunity to further prove his professionalism and mental strength, reminding the whole boxing world why he stays a real champion who demands respect. People are excited and ready to see how Joshua uses this moment, both mentally and in the ring, as he gets ready for future challenges that will shape his legacy. Can Jake Paul ever come back from this and step back into the ring against a real heavyweight like AJ? Drop your thoughts below, share your opinions, and jump into the conversation about who really deserves the spotlight in boxing.